Greetings, everybody. Welcome to, what is this, episode 2 of the Gronkin on Dogs pre-recorded podcast where all the members get access to this first.
You not count to 2. Why was that such a struggle? Episode 2, like
I'm sorry. Why the fuck did Mazza look up like this?
He's trying to count to 2. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about remakes. Everyone's favorite topic at the moment, remakes. And yes, the button on my shirt is broken, so shut the fuck up. Now, again, members get access to this early, and then it goes public at the end of the week. But one thing that we thought would be cool, if Mossa could learn to shut the fuck up, one thing that we thought would be cool is if you guys have any questions about anything you want us to yap about, just send it, just put it in the comments. But today, we're going to talk about remakes. Have they gone too far? Do we need more of them? Are they justified? What should be remade? What shouldn't be remade? So let's go ahead and start.
Are they coming to your neighborhood?
And then they're coming, and are they in the room with you right now? But let's start with Cream. Cream, what's your stance on all this remake that's going on these days in gaming?
I love it.
Shut the fuck up.
No, dude.
Especially the Horizon.
I mean, it depends. Like, the thing is, if we get remakes of the right things, it's totally fine. For example, we're going to be getting remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2. Those games make sense for those to get a remake. The problem is, when we get those remakes, they don't actually like remake it into a new engine, which is what we all want. They just kind of like make the game playable again, which is something, I guess, and like maybe make the graphics look like it's for a PS3 instead of a PS2. So, but dude, we get way too many like games within 5 years of release getting a fucking remake. I'm sorry, if your game needs a remake after 5 years, it's probably not that good of a game.
Dude, it's cash grab. Honestly, especially with all the PlayStation ones, it's like, oh fuck, we gotta remaster Last of Us 1 again, and then remaster Last of Us 2. What the fuck are they doing? Now, something like Resistance or Killzone, like old games that never really got a shot, especially during that PS2 to PS3 era, right? And even Xbox 360 era, because there's so many good games back then that got buried because there was just, Halo 3, fucking Gears of War, all these bigger games just buried so many little games that would thrive today just because, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not really much competition anymore. But instead, they decide to PlayStation decides, Horizon. That game that only came out a couple of years ago on PS4. Like, what the fuck? Imagine a remaster of Simpsons Hit and Run. The game that everyone doesn't shut the fuck up about. You know what I mean? Imagine that.
Imagine a remake of someone actually getting hit by a car.
Oh, yes. You're thinking of bum fights. But what about you, John?
I find it's before, like about 10 years ago, it was fine. The remakes that were being made were really, really good. You've had like a little further back, you had the XCOM series getting a remake, getting put onto a new engine. But I think these days they're starting to blur the lines between reimaginings, remakes, and remasters, where it's starting to like it gets tiring to see some of the remakes be changed or tweaked differently to suit to either suit a modern audience or for the developers to make in their own way rather than actually being true to the original game.
I think a good example of it actually changing the game and making it better was Resident Evil 2. Now, they changed it a lot, right? But they made it kind of better in a way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they would have remastered, but it was like the old one, like from the point, I think it would have been kind of shit. I like the third person. I like that more than what it was on PS2, I think that's a good example of you can change it to make it better, but still have the atmosphere, the passion of 2. Now, a bad example is 3. The 3 remaster, right? It's like it was cheaply done, 4 hours long, no heart at all, just a quick cash grab, dog shit, and it was
Well, so I think everyone will agree that Sony is probably the worst offender when it comes to this, and that's not saying Microsoft is much better. They're just not as bad as Sony. Like we were talking about before, like really, there's talks of remastering Horizon Zero Dawn. You're like, come on, man, that shit came out in like 2017. That game's not even 10 years old. They already did Last of Us 2, and wouldn't that game come out 2019 or something, 2020, something like that. But what's funny is I'm actually on the PlayStation's website, and there is a section in here for remakes. I never go on the PlayStation website, but there's a section here for remakes. Let me start saying some of these to you. So Dead Space. Dead Space is one of those Xbox 360 games. I haven't played the remaster. But did Dead Space really need a remaster? Oh, sorry, a remake? Remaster, whatever?
No,
not really. You could still... It's not like the Transformer games, right? Where you can still get it on Steam. I don't know how well it ran on Steam, but you can still get it on Steam at least. Well,
if you had EA Play, you could get it. You could play it with... if you had Game Pass, you could play it on Xbox, like that, and Mass Effect as well. Like those two, or it's like, why remake them?
Yeah. Whereas like the Transformer games that you can no longer get. They deserve a remaster. Gears only because you can't really play it on PC. You can play them on the Xbox.
You can't get Gears 2 or Gears 3.
No, you can't. And the Gears 1 remaster, the online is dog shit. It's broken. You can't join like friends and play. Me and Lethal were trying like last year or sometime, and we couldn't do it. We had to play Overwatch, right? Well, that's where the meme came from. Going back to Overwatch.
Well, have a listen to this next one on the list. This is an interesting one. Resident Evil 4. How many times has this game been remade? But you want to know what's wild? A lot of people say this is the best version of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? That's another good example of a remaster because they're trying to do like how like 2, right? They're trying to make all the games a bit more like how they remastered 2. And for Resident Evil, it really suits that. Like, a big problem with the new Resident Evils like 7 and 8 is everyone's like, oh, it's first person. It worked for 7, but it's like, I wouldn't want 9. And a lot of people believe 8 shouldn't have been first person as well. It worked for 7 because, you're in one house on a little farm. But most of the time, you are very... It feels like you're kind of trapped, right? Whereas, like, 8, it should have been third person. So you have to be really careful with the camera. So 4, it did get remastered a lot. But it was like... The other remasters were like the original game where they didn't really change too much. They fixed maybe a couple of controls, but it wasn't really a remaster. You know what I mean? It didn't really fix too many of the problems. It kind of just brought it to a new system.
It fit more into the category of like a remake, whereas they made a few creative and narrative decision changes that from the original to further elaborate onto the story, or to make things in their eyes make more sense. And that's one of the cases where it actually really works. That it was well received by the audience. They really enjoyed it. Whereas you find you have other situations like with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where there was creative decisions about bringing in the Arbiters of Fate, which are ghosts that you see in the game that force the characters and the protagonists, everything around, to continue to follow the original story as it was written in Final Fantasy VII. And what they did with that is they created a new conflict within the remake game between the characters that you know and love and the Arbiters of Fate, these ghosts. Where that's where a lot of fans like myself found them as like kind of a symbolism of me, like and many other original fans who wanted to keep the game as original and true to the original story as possible. As you can see with the reception of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, not that many people bought it compared to the first for the remake. But and on the other hand, with that, you have other remakes that are completely like brought onto a new engine so that they can function properly on the newer games. Like I can think of like sticking to the Sony side, it's we can think of like Shadow of the Colossus, where the PS4 remake brought, from PS2 to PS4, where it was it still stayed true to the original as much as possible while bringing it to the new generation console. Absolutely glorious. And another one like that, even longer ago, that was a love from my childhood, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey.
Hey.
That was an amazing game. and with their they remade it and made it new and tasty, and it was very much exactly the same game, but it was there had further elaborations put into the game as well, but it's still all the same, stayed true to what the original was, and those were both very, very well received when they launched.
Sorry, I'm just giggling because I'm looking at the next one on the list. Last of Us Part 2.
What a waste of time.
10 out of 10. Fucking love the game. Love the part where you kill Joel, the guy from Uncharted. Take his head out.
8K, baby.
This game, man. This game's not even 5 years old, and it's already been remastered.
Yeah.
What a fucking joke, man. What an absolute joke. Now, you can actually say the same thing about Resident Evil as you can with Last of Us. Is there more remakes / remasters than original games now? And that's kind of a problem within itself, man. But
insane.
Of the two franchises,
I think
Last of Us is far more fucking... What, sorry?
Well, I think it's less of a problem because fucking Resident Evil has how many main games?
More than 2.
8? Yeah,
more than 8. Yeah, exactly. So it's like you're remastering, and it's like they've been releasing games for like 20-30 years now.
Last of Us
in that
did
series,
Dude, Last of Us did like the main game PS3. Then they did the remaster for the first game for the PS4, right? It was literally called Last of Us Remastered. And then they did one for the PS5 and the PC port. And then they remastered 2 again. So there's actually more remasters than main games. Insane.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like in 2-game series. How the fuck does that happen?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's not a game series that goes back to 2013.
Yeah, at least fucking Resident Evil's fucking
PlayStation and what, man? Yeah. Like anything that's from PS4, I don't think should be remastered. I think it's still too soon for anything to be remastered on PS4. Dude. PS3, maybe
early PS3. I'd like to see
early PS3. Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe. Fuck yeah, dude! I would love to see Resistance: Fall of Men, Resistance 2, Resistance 3, fucking
Resistance. You just want to see Resistance.
I want to see all the Resistance.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You got a Haze remake, don't you? Say it, man. You just want a Haze remake.
Oh, dude, that's the only thing that deserves a remaster. Let's be honest.
What about Infamous? How come they haven't remastered that game?
Yeah,
any of the games.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
might be a big project because it's you also got Infamous 2 and 3 that might be at a high demand or something, and plus with the way that games are made these days, where it takes like 6-7 years to develop, it's a huge project, and they're very, at least the publishers and developers are going to be very, very selective on what they choose to remake, and plus with the licensing and rights and such like that,
it's all ego based. It's just like, no, remaster the game I made. Who cares about those developers from 40 years ago? Let's make our game.
When are we getting Kong remastered, dude?
I want Kong remastered. the old Xbox game.
They won't do that because they have their MonsterVerse shit going on at the moment as well. So it's not that crap.
That's true. Yeah, that's it. Well, that's it with the that kind of falls into the licensing issue where it starts becoming far more complicated than it really should, than the way we see it, and the way it should be. They want, they're
way too corporate now.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, it's the issue. Corporate.
You know what would print money? All the old Medal of Honor games being remastered. Those would print.
That's what I was thinking about that. Like kind of like even if you just remastered the War Chest.
Yep.
Just remember War Chest? Yeah. That was good shit. You remaster that.
And in the state that COD was, right? Like, imagine if they did it earlier, they thought about it. Medal of Honor could have been back on top. Especially Battlefield. What are they like? They have Battlefield's failing. They kind of need like a bigger dub. So what do you do to bring all the Medal of Honors back? Get your Medal of Honor fans, because there's going to be a lot of new players who've never played it as well, because it's such a new young audience.
I know. Here's the thing about that, Moz, is these youngins and shit, they're going to look at Medal of Honor and go, wow, this is so bare bones and basic. How did you guys ever like this? And people like me are going to freak the fuck out.
No, but you have to, you will have to adapt into certain things, right? You're going to have to bring certain things to your game. And then...
more of like canceling. It's like but more of like a COD ADS style.
I guess, yeah. You're gonna have to, right? And I mean, most games become that a bit more nowadays, right? Even Halo, I mean, fucking, you kind of have to adapt. the thing is, you're gonna have to bring the old games back because you bring all the old fans, and then all these new fans will be like, "Oh, what are they fucking playing?" And maybe people like new fans will come, and then you make a brand new one, right? Maybe it's and then you
Actually,
can add.
that's I'm surprised that's something that's not done more. Is remake old franchises and see if there's like, wow, do people want a new one? Should we commit to a new one? Let's see how people react to the old shit first.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yep.
That'd be an interesting way to go about it. But I don't understand how there was never a Fallout 1 and 2 remake.
Dude, it kind of like a 4, right? Like how but make it in the 4.
I think I know why. It's the same reason that Bethesda doesn't like talking about New Vegas, because they didn't have any input on like any of those games, really. Not on Fallout 1, not on Fallout 2, not on Tactics. They just bought the IP after Tactics, and they started making 3. So
now's a good time to drop it though. Like years away from a Fallout.
But you also have to give like some respect to Chris Avalon again, right?
Yeah, and Todd's not going to do that.
He was the head guy on New Vegas, but he also worked on Fallout 2 as a writer.
Yeah, Todd's not going to do that.
Yeah.
Fuck you, bro.
No, correct me if I'm wrong, but the also Fallout 1 and 2 were not like the big, huge games on the PC when they first came out. They were not. They were still pretty good, and they're also they were a particular niche, and also a particular niche genre too. The isometric tactical games. But you had other games out there that kind of did come through from past their lifespan in the original, like with Age of Empires 2. That was a huge cult classic, beloved PC game that got remade for new generation, and that was well received. For great. Another game like that would have to be the XCOM series, where it was it's in the style of a tactical shooter, but they brought it into a new generation, and it was very, very well received. And XCOM 2 as well. They were pretty good.
Even something smaller like Sid Meier's Pirates. Where that was like, when did that come out? In the 80s?
Late
original?
80s, early
and
90s.
Then they remade it into a more fleshed out game, because of course, when you're literally making the game and storing it on floppy disks, a little hard to have good graphics and mechanics and things of that nature. So they remade it, and I think the remake is probably the best pirate game ever made. I think that's fair to say.
Thor,
Still is, as far as I'm concerned.
You're not a Skull and Bones fan. You don't want a lightning healing ship.
You know what? That's the only thing Sid Meier's Pirates was missing, was healer ships.
Lightning healing ships that had
and
ice
stamina.
And
stamina for your ships.
The next one on this PlayStation list is the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster.
See, that makes sense.
Yeah, because those are old.
Yeah,
those are old as shit.
PS1 games. Yeah.
Well over 20 years old.
And you've recently just finished the new trilogy, so it's like, hey, you guys might like the original games. Here, have that. If you're newer fans because you like the new trilogy that just came out, here's what the originals were like. That makes 100% fucking sense.
Now this next one on the list was actually very positively received. The Spyro Reignited trilogy, where you took the 3 original Spyros.
That makes sense.
I thought you were going to say Battlefront 2.
So that was like what, PS1 and PS2, the Spyro trilogy.
Yeah, the trilogy was originally on PS1. They did have a reimagining of what I think it was like Spyro's Awakening or something like that, where it was they had the voice actor, the guy who played Frodo in Lord of the Rings, and David Spade. There was a few PS2s, but they changed. The original trilogy, if I remember correctly, was just on the original PlayStation. It was
the one where you have to collect the dragon eggs. Was that on PS1 or PS2?
That was PS1, the original PS1.
Fuck.
Yeah. That was on. And that also with the Crash trilogy, those were huge, beloved games that were pretty much staples for the PlayStation at its time, and for them to have it was like practically a no-brainer for those to have remakes to come onto a new generation, to go, be remastered on brand new engines that would work, that would still live true to the original games. that would give us exactly what we wanted from these remakes, is to give us, you know, a game that's still true to the gameplay as it was before, but fitting better. Because yeah, of course, PlayStation 1, the Spyro and the Crash games, they did have some like game mechanics issues, but with the new engines, they were able to polish that right up and make it beautiful.
Do you know what was funny with the Crash one when they brought out that Crash remake trilogy? Everyone was like, "Fuck, was this game always this hard, or am I just shit now?"
yeah. It's like,
I think it's a bit of both, actually. I think they actually upped it a little bit, and everyone's just dog shit now. Too much Call of Duty brain rot. I'm fucking not good at these games anymore.
Yeah, in particular with the Crash trilogy, that I know particularly is that they have there was a bit of a clipping issue. The way that they have the characters and the polygons set up, it's a little harder on the remakes compared to the original, because what they had to work with with the PlayStation game engine, you know, with the console, they were very restricted. Not compared to today, where it's like you can have gigs worth of stuff, where they were running with just a few megs back then.
Crash Bandicoot is my Elden Ring.
Well, this whole conversation came about because of earlier there was this big talk of Horizon Zero Dawn getting a remake, which is disgusting. Wow. Like when you look at Horizon Zero Dawn, I liked it. I know a lot of people don't.
First one. I haven't played the second one.
I haven't played the second one, but just Horizon Zero Dawn. I liked it. A lot of people didn't, whatever. But even the people that don't like it are looking at this going, but it looks fine. There's no reason for it to be remade.
They've already got a PC port.
And you already got a PC port.
There's no point.
There's no fucking point at all.
Yeah, they seem like cash grabs at that point.
They are 100%.
Just a quick polishing and just throw it back out there, and so that people who haven't played it before can play it again.
Worst thing is, a lot of people are retarded and they're probably going to buy it again. Oh, it looks slightly better. Dude, The Last of Us 2 remastered didn't even look any different, dude. Honestly,
yeah, that's the thing. With a lot of these remakes, you see the side by side and you go, I can't tell the fucking difference.
Yeah, if you were to tell me which one's on PS5 and which one's on PS4, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like, it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, that's fucking munted, man. And the thing that I don't get with a lot of these things is, why are you remaking shit that was already AAA, that close, but AAA price? So you're already going to spend a lot of money to remake it. Like, remember when the Insomniac hack happened and we got all the prices and we saw the price points just to remaster Spider-Man, and it cost millions and millions of dollars? And everyone's like, how the fuck? Really? Yeah. Really that much? Like, wouldn't it be cheaper and more effective to take something that's from like the PS2 era, PS3 era, put that money into that and go, maybe we can revitalize a dormant franchise? But instead, like, what the fuck, man? And Horizon Zero Dawn, its sequel, what was it called? Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West.
Yep.
From what I've seen, people actually say Dawn's better than Forbidden West. Mm-hmm. So is this just an attempt to just get a bit more fucking brownie points out of what's left of that franchise, or are they doing something more nefarious?
That's very possible, yeah.
It's the same as Last of Us 2. Everyone hated that one, so they're like, "Oh fuck it, we'll remaster one and we'll put it on PC." And the PC port was broken as fuck. And then they've remastered it again for PS5. And it was like, no, what the fuck? And now they've decided to remaster 2. No one's gonna fucking buy that shit, I hope. I swear to fuck. I swear, if that sells good, I'm gonna give up.
No, the people, well, here's the thing. Like, the people who are going to buy The Last of Us 2 remake aren't new people. They're people who already own it. And not all those people are gonna buy it. So you're inherently selling it to a smaller market share than you did the original. It makes no sense. Whereas something, again, example, Infamous. Dude, that could be a huge game. If they announce at State of Play, Infamous 1, even just one of the games, remastered on the PS5, on PC, that game would be fucking huge.
Yep.
The last Infamous game did well from what I remember, Second Son. Like, it was I'm not sure if it was a launch title for the PS4 or it came out just after it came out, but it was extremely popular because it was one of the only games out on the PS4. And so everyone played it, and everyone thought, yeah, it's pretty good. There's a couple problems, but
and the only thing holding that back is going back to those old controls, because it's like the originals, right? It's kind of like outdated, right? And that's the only thing holding it back. It's like those types of games that are kind of outdated, right? They need to be remastered, because, like, dude, Infamous, dude, you could remaster all the old ones, then make a brand new one. I have no idea, especially, I keep saying it again, but Killzone. Honestly, I swear to fuck, you remaster the first 3 games, people forget about that 4th crap one, and the 5th one comes out, and it could be a whole new fucking era of Killzone.
I'd actually like Shadowfall to come out again. Shadowfall 2.
Yeah, that's the only one they'll remaster. Shadowfall.
No, it is Sony.
Yeah.
But then again, on the flip side of that is something like Gears of War trilogy. Remake that, drop that. You go there. I think there's been enough time between those games as well,
dude,
where we've skipped a whole generation of those games, because they all came out on the 360. 1, 2, and 3 all came out on the 360. They weren't on PS1, and they're sure as shit on the X and S. So yeah, you've skipped a whole generation, and we're definitely at least past the halfway point of this generation. And get them in the hands of PC players.
And
that's more players across the world.
4 and 5 didn't bring in that new audience. It didn't. If anything, it pissed off the old people. So it didn't bring in a
sounds
new
like
audience.
another Xbox franchise.
Hey,
anyway, go on.
It was also coming. Those 4 and 5 also came at a time where the genre of third-person shooters was becoming more saturated than it was when the original trilogy came out. So people found, people were finding better experiences with other games rather than just going with the 4 and 5 and continuing the story of the Gears of War franchise. So,
yeah. I think the sweet spot for a release is at least a generation in between, right? So we should be getting remasters for PS3 games, now, and older now, right? PS4, wait till the next one, because one, if you're just looking at it on a graphics level, the late PS3 to PS4 wasn't a huge change. Last of Us 1 looked really good on the PS3, and it didn't really look a whole lot better on the PS4. GTA, for example, it took a while for it to look better on the PS4. And arguably it looks the best on PC, I would say, with mods. But I think if you can get like some of these PS2 games and remake them, remaster them, there's a ton, man.
Dude.
PS2, Xbox.
I can't believe they haven't done God of War yet. The original, like 1 and 2.
The original trilogy.
Wasn't there talks of that at one stage?
There was, but who fucking knows, man? Was that cunt? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Was that cunt's ego, whatever his name is, the new director? His ego's so high that they're not even doing the TV show of the fucking Greeks. So who knows? That guy might be pushing it back. Like, Sony probably wants it remastered, but he's like, nah, the Viking stuff's way better. Don't worry about remastering those old shitty games. Like, I just think he has too much of an ego, that guy, to do that.
And the thing is, it's Sony's biggest franchise, and the only way to play it legally without owning copies from when the game was released physically is to stream gameplay of it, not download the game. You have to stream it, which already limits it to anyone without really good internet, because Sony's streaming capabilities are bad. Look, I get like 50 megabytes down. I can't play God of War. The lag is too much. So you basically limited everyone from playing it. And it's like, this is your biggest franchise. This is your fucking Mario. This is your Halo. God of War is like just straight up.
Now, definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
It used to be, I guess, Crash, but they never owned Crash. So it's kind of hard to say that. Marketing wise, it was, but dude, everyone knows God of War. Like everybody knows Kratos. So why wouldn't you release this game and just this awesome like hack and slash type of thing going through? People would fucking love it. They would go ape shit.
there isn't many hack and slash games again, so it would just thrive again. Like it survived PS2 era, the PS3 era, right? 3, and fucking now since there's not many, you upgrade the graphics on that bitch. Oh, you just do a trilogy, like remaster all of them together and have it as one package, right? Dude, it would probably be one of the best-selling games ever.
Like, well, I have a question for everyone here, and I dare say some of you might have the same answer. But what is, if you could pick one game that got remastered that absolutely did not deserve it, what would it be?
Oh fuck, Last of Us 2.
Last of Us 2.
The Last of Us series, yeah, is definitely a big choice on that.
Whole series, yeah.
Geez.
Last of Us 2 or Ghost of Tsushima.
You don't think Ghost is going to? That's not a remaster. That's a port.
No, but it got a PS5 one, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it did. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
but that was a director's cut.
Yeah,
that's what they call it. They exactly call it a remake. Yeah, director's cut, where it was far better polished because it came out at the end of the PS4's life cycle, and it basically pushed that console to the limit. So with the PS5, it gave it the full potential that the director wanted to give it, aka director's cut.
I still think it didn't need it then. You should have, if you were gonna do that, either hold the game off until the PS5 or hold the director's cut thing until
a little bit longer.
Even till now, it would have been more acceptable. But definitely The Last of Us 2 is up there. That I don't know, man. There's a lot that don't deserve. Like again, this Horizon one too. Why the fuck are they doing that?
Dude,
there was one game that I do remember that did get a remake not too long ago that came out on the PS2. Destroy All Humans, if you guys remember that.
That was a good one.
That was good on the PS2, but it was not well received when it came out and launched with the remake. It was essentially the same game, had a further elaboration, but I guess
I've heard good things about it.
Some people enjoyed it. But as far as I saw, it wasn't the biggest. It wasn't what the developers were expecting when it came to reception. But if you look back in the days of the PS2 era, Destroy All Humans was a big staple when it came out. It made a lot of noise because of how unique it was and how much of a that retro 50s, 60s alien invasion style, where it brought in the flying saucers and brought in all the little stuff, all the imaginings that they had in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, it was a goofy style, but it wasn't very well received at this time for this time because I guess people were kind of like bored of the whole retro sci-fi style of it, and and that falls into like the corporate decisions. Are they going to be getting making a game that's going to be receptive to that's going to have a positive reaction from the audience? Are people going to buy it? Is it a right time for it? And that's another thing that kind of comes into consideration if whether or not developers are going to remake a game that they have the licensing rights to.
Well, one final question. At least one, but probably a few games you would love to see actually get a remake. I'll start. First, I'm going to pick Driver from the PS1. You take that. I know we talked about it.
I got it right here. I got it right here.
We talked about it a few streams ago. But Driver, right? Let's see it.
I got it right here.
Oh, yeah,
boy.
Dude.
Don't you realize you are the wheelman?
Exactly. I would take Driver, upgrade it obviously, but just like put like more cops in it so the chases are crazier, all that type of shit. If anyone hasn't played Driver, you're essentially a getaway driver, like in like a bank robbery and all that type of shit. You don't get out of the car and rob the bank. You're the guy that drives the car to get away. So
that's
cool. It's fucking awesome, man. I would remake that and just have it crazier, more cop cars, more chases, all that type of shit. Right. The next one, this was the first ever video game I ever played in my life, and I still have it on my PC that I play from time to time. It's a game called Raiden, or Project Raiden, I think it's called, or the Raiden Project, either one.
I remember that
it was
one.
It was also an arcade game. I understand there's like 8 of them now, but on PS1, on the disc at least, you had Raiden 1 and Raiden 2. But I would just take Raiden 1. It's a arcade. you're a spaceship and you go on rails, sort of, but you can move around, on the screen, but you can't like go further into the screen. And every level, there's a big boss fight at the end, and it's either like some super giant spaceship or like some tank or some submarine or some shit like that. And eventually, you get to a point where you go into outer space, and there's all like power ups and shit like that. And it's one hit, you're dead. One hit, you're dead.
Oh.
So it really makes you freak the fuck out when you get hit and you lose all your power ups and shit. Yeah. Take that. Keep the same format. You can't fly off the screen. Pretty it up. Fucking hardcore details on the spaceship. Modern day graphics. Oh, take my money. Take my fucking money. That's the two I'd go with. Moz, your bitch ass is just gonna say Killzone and Haze, isn't it?
No, fuck Haze. No, so I want Resistance, Killzone, Predator vs. Aliens. I think that would be the perfect remaster right now, baby. Fuck, I love that.
Which one? The one on the 360 and the PS3?
Yeah, the one where you get 3 campaigns. You get the Marine campaign, you get the Alien campaign, you get the Predator campaign. Oh my fuck, I love that game. It was so perfect because the Alien, you were number 6. You ended up becoming like the Queen. Predator, you earned the coolest mask that you can earn by killing a Predator alien. The human, I kind of forget the human story a bit actually, but yeah, I fucking love that.
The human, you kill a Predator at the end and escape the planet.
Yep. Oh fuck! See that?
See, the human. No, sorry. The Alien campaign goes first, and that ends with you taking a Predator and putting a face hugger on them. So there's the Pred Alien.
Yep.
The Predator kills the Pred Alien.
Yep.
And the humans kill the Predator and escape the planet.
Yep. There's a point where
the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh man, and of course the fucking Cybertron games, Transformers. Come on, baby. I mean, who doesn't? Come on.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
That'd be good.
Jono?
For one particular game, it might not be, at least these days, it would probably be VR as a remake because of the way it was, but it was originally an arcade game that came out onto the PlayStation, Time Crisis. I would really like to see an actual Time Crisis remake game. Just bring out the original where you're one guy going onto an island and you're going to save the president's daughter, and you're just mowing people down as fast as you can with the time. You get your lives, you get your ammo and all that jazz. Just have it. It would fit perfectly. I'm surprised it hasn't even gotten a remake in these days where we're coming into an age where VR is becoming more and more developed. It's becoming a bigger, it's going to eventually, and I'm guessing in the next 5 or 10 years, it is actually going to be a little more of a staple, even though these days it's kind of hard for a lot of people to get into. But yeah, that would be an instant banger for a Time Crisis game to come out and have it be released as a remake and such. Another one thinking of would be Colony Wars. That was originally on the PlayStation. It was, if I remember correctly, it was also on the PC. It's a space flight simulator, which you can kind of think where it's a little oversaturated when particular games these days they do it a lot better. But the story was freaking amazing, and it came out with 2 sequels, and they all came out on the original PlayStation. It was a great series of games that really brought a new take into the sci-fi flight simulator. Other than that, I'm trying to think of a few of them, but there's a few games out there way back in the day that would make Wipeout. That with the modern day graphics and the way that how fast things can go these days, a fast-paced racing game like that would be amazing. People would enjoy it.
I remember getting fucking robbed when Need for Speed Most Wanted did their remaster, their remake. You're like, what the fuck is this shit? This is not it, man. Yeah. Oh, actually put them on the list. Underground 1, Underground 2, and Most Wanted. All right, great. What about you, motherfucker?
Here's one. Everyone's going to think it's weird, but it would make sense to do it now. I'd argue that this is the perfect time to do it. Remaster the fucking Guitar Hero games. Do it now. Dude, it's actually popular. There's a whole generation of kids who grew up that now have $500 to spend on a fake guitar. It's perfect. Here's the thing. People would fucking love it. there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of, famous people who ended up, who are famous now, who ended up, for example, Post Malone. He got into music through playing Guitar Hero, right? He's one of the biggest artists in the world.
Yep.
Use him for fucking marketing. You'll sell like
dude, he would.
Yeah.
Dude, he would probably do some songs just for it. You know what I mean? If you pay like he he would probably do some songs just for it. Dude, that'd be fucking insane. Because some people do that for Just Dance. They put
that's
like
true.
Songs just for that.
And Just Dance is cringe. So imagine how, Guitar Hero is cringe. Don't get me wrong, it's cringe, but it's less cringe. You see,
it's less cringe.
Imagine the opportunity of all the drunk people buying this and then collapsing on like the Rock Band drum kit. That happened back in the day. It'll happen again.
And now in the world of streaming, we can fucking monetize it.
Yeah,
exactly.
We can
imagine how fucking hilarious that would be to watch. All these like
get all these e-sluts with their tits hanging out. I say that as my shirt's broken. E-sluts with their tits out, fucking doing the drums and passing out on the drums and pissing themselves and shit.
Yeah. Ooh. So I would say that. Obviously, Infamous and God of War. Another that I would choose would have to be. I'm just thinking of it now. I would say Driver as well. If you said Driver, honestly, like there's a ton that I will think of once we're finished. And I'll be like, that game.
Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Same here, buddy.
There's one.
The old Ghost Recon, the original Ghost Recon.
Oh, that would be fun.
Splinter Cell. I just thought of it. Splinter Cell.
No, they're doing that. It's gonna be shit.
Oh, fuck! All right.
Oh, damn.
The old Rainbow Six games.
There's one from the old PlayStation era that I just remembered that would be an amazing Dino Crisis. How
the fuck has that not happened?
Yeah,
Dino Crisis.
They know they know dinosaurs can be an awesome thing, but I guess they
you watch the fucking Capcom, like when they do like their state of plays, whatever the fuck they call it. The whole chat's Dino Crisis. Can we have a new Monster Hunter? Dino Crisis.
I just thought of it.
Instant hit.
I just thought of it. Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. That's a personal one that I want.
The Marvel games, that would certainly revive the love for Marvel these days because it's dying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Would they do that?
I don't. They did a third one, which another company bought the license, and then it was good. It wasn't even an Ultimate Alliance game. Like it was all bad. If they did it, and they did it in the same like style where it's kind of more gritty and less cartoony, I think it could be really good, especially putting those on PC. I would say the box art for Ultimate Alliance is iconic. Everyone knows that with the kind of like blue squares and like each character's in there. Spider-Man's on there, Elektra's on there. Like
literally. Like people that don't even know the game probably know that symbol. Like it's kind of a main thing.
Yeah, but anyway, boys and girls, we're going to wrap this up here. Again, huge thank you to all the channel members. You get to see this early, and then we'll make it public at the end of the week. And as always, thank you. But don't forget, if there's something you think would make for a good topic and you'd want to see, put it in the comments. And if you don't do that, it means you're a fan of Mozza. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll see you all in the next